Hello, once again. I am back on another interesting topic for today. Thank you for joining me once again. And in case you are new here, you're on Chiege's World. My name is Chiege, and I welcome all of you to my YouTube channel. Today, you are going to learn something very important, extremely important. So I would suggest, if you're watching me right now, if you want a cup of coffee, if you want a cup of tea and your snacks, get them ready. Bring them closer, find a seat, sit down, open your ears, because you have something to learn in today's topic. In case you're new here, please, I would like you to subscribe to my channel so that when I post a video, you'll be first to notify. So let's proceed. In today's topic, I truly want to talk about on how you can detect, be it a witch, a bad person. What I mean by bad is a diabolic person. There are some people who are into diabolical things. How you can detect them, plus witches. Open your ears. You heard exactly what I just said now. We have friends. We move about with people. We move about with friends. We move about with everyone. Like, you mustn't necessarily know some people before you interact with them, because we socialize in life. But it gets to a point in your lifetime when you notice that something is actually going wrong, but you can't really detect or place your hand on a particular thing and say, this is where my problem lies. It happens to each and every one of us out there. We've all gone through that situation, or some people are still passing through it, or others have passed through it, and we have them. We have them. They can tell you, so thing happened to me. I can't really tell what that thing is, or where it came from, or where it's coming from. Now, that's the topic of today. This is how you will know when someone is trying to take what belongs to you, or when someone is trying to ring you through witches and wizard practices, or through diabolical means. First thing I need to tell each and every one of us is that we trust too much. People do trust too much. Some of us trust too much. So today, limit the way on how you trust people. Do not over-trust. It doesn't mean there are people we cannot trust. We have people we can trust in this life, but please limit the way you trust. Don't overdo it, because too much of everything is bad. Because when you overdo it, it always comes back backfired, because it always comes back from someone you care for, people you care for, that will hurt you the most. So let's talk about you knowing somebody. Could be a friend. Let's start from there. You've been trusting. Something begins to happen in your life that goes negatively, but you do not tell. You can't really tell where that thing is coming from. So let's go with this. Now, this is what happens. In as much as I'm using it as an example, but don't just see it as an example, because it's a reality. It happens. We've had a lot of people that tell their stories to us and say, this is how it happened to me. I can't really place my mind where, but by the time you go deeply into prayer, God will surely reveal to you where your problem lies and who is behind your problem. Don't think that God cannot speak to you. God speaks to all of us. Now, when someone gives you money, for example, someone you know, he or she gives you money. The worst thing that can happen to anyone is you spending the money without bringing out the 10% of God and putting it in the church. For those of you who will tell me, must I always give tithe to all those pastors and priests to be eating? You are not giving it to them. For example, let me teach us, there are a series of ways to pay your tithe. When you have your tithe, you can choose to put in the church, but definitely put some in the church offering box. Then, of course, split the other ones. You can help someone who is hungry out there. You can look for children who doesn't have help, a helper, pay for their school fees. That's the same tithe going on. That's the same God's way of doing things that pleases God. Look for any child or children, pay for their school fees. But make sure you put some amount of that, your tithe, in the offering box in the church. You don't necessarily need to see anyone. It's always good if you can meet a pastor and give the tithe to pray for you, or a priest to pray for you, but it is not a must. Whereby you did not find any of them, just walk straight inside the church. Go to the chapel. use your tithe, pray over your tithe, thank God for giving you that money, then put it in the offering box there, or just leave it at the altar of God there and go your way. So that's what I mean by when you get your tithe, you can split it. Use this one in the church, pay for any child's school fees, feed anybody who is hungry, clothe anybody who doesn't have clothes. You can. This is another way of paying your tithe to God. All right. Then someone gives you money. Unfortunately, you forgot to do all these things that I just mentioned now. You begin to use the money for your use. It could be a money given to you out of their free will, or it could be that you were asking for money for business, for example, because human beings tend to ask for money for business. Then what you don't know is it's not all of them that you know will actually want you to prosper, will truly want you to succeed, will truly want good for you or the best for you. But because you're in friendship with them, they will not tell you. So when you ask for such money and they give you that money, and unfortunately you fail to do this that I just mentioned, maybe you forgot to do them, you begin to spend that money. Now this is how you would detect who that person truly is. That money will never be useful to you. In what way? You will not know what you use that money to do. It's always a mystery. You can't really place your hand and say, this is how I use this money. You can't. Then the funniest part is, let's say somewhere you used to purchase things from that you know is genuine, but this time around, maybe an online store, you purchase something and your money gone. They didn't get back to you. Maybe they even choose to delete their site. Now you'll be wondering, but this is a genuine place that I have gotten something from before. What could be the problem? It is a spiritual warfare going on right now. But at that moment, you are not really stable for you to understand what is truly happening. Then the money will continue to go like that. You pay for something, you never get that thing back. It turns out to be people that are crooks, criminals. You can't even tell how did it happen. You try to use that money for that business you talked about. You put that money in that business and that business will sink. You will not make anything out of that money. The money will continue to go like that mysteriously until you wake up one day, your account is red with no money inside it. Then another way to detect it is those people or that person that gave you the money will be constantly calling you. Have you used the money? That's their question. Will you use it to do this and this? When are you starting? Have you started it? Then you'll be wondering within your mind, why are they concerned on how you spend the money, on when to start, on how you started, or the things you want to put that money into? You'll be wondering yourself, why are they this concerned? After I've asked you for the money, or maybe I worked for the money and you paid me that money. And do not forget that there are organizations or people, individuals you might be working for, but you will not know that at the back they are into dark side of life. They pay you your salary. They pay you for the job you did for them. But in the end, you cannot tell what you use that money they paid you to do. You can't even eat food, ordinary food. You can't even feed well from that money. And in the end, the whole money will be all gone. And you'll be wondering, but I'm working and I'm being paid. What is going on? I can't even do savings. You can't even account for a savings. You can't even account for anything tangible you have used that your salary to do. But you're always being paid every end of the month. These are the signs to know that wherever it is you worked and they're paying you, something is wrong somewhere. That with a mere mortal eyes, you cannot detect it. It only requires prayer for you to detect it. Now, we mentioned some things here. We mentioned about you receiving either free money from that person, or maybe you worked for the money and they gave it to you at the end of the day, or maybe that money you borrowed it to start up a business and they gave you willingly. But in the end, at the back, something is wrong somewhere. And upon that, another one we talked about, they kept on calling you. This calling of a thing is always, when it comes to a relationship with that person, maybe your friend, they will be calling you. Have you used it? What are you waiting for? When will you put it in that business? Are you starting up that business you told me? Or have you changed the business? When exactly have you... You keep wondering, why are they asking me all these questions? Actually, you've given me the money. It is left for me on how I use my money. You don't have to question me on how to use my own money, or maybe you don't have to question me on how I use the money I borrowed from you, knowing fully well that I'll pay you back. Then when the whole money evaporates, you'll be shocked. Number one, if you borrow the money and it evaporates in that manner, there's a problem. How do you pay back? Then secondly, if it's the money you worked for and they paid you after the job, and it vanishes in that manner, you'll be wondering, what do I do, because you don't have any other money. Then if it's the one they gave you willingly and you thank them and collected the money from them and it disappears into thin air, you'll be shocked. Because number one, the reason why the reason why you even asked for the money, or maybe they gave you the money and the reason you wanted to use it for, you have not even achieved it, and you're already looking for the money and the money is nowhere to be found. There are solutions to this problem, because when it happens like this, initially you can't tell where the problem is coming from. So in this case, you can't really say this person is a witch, or this person is diabolical, or things like that. Embark on prayer. I suggest midnight, not afternoon prayer. No, not afternoon prayer. I suggest midnight, between 12, 1, 2, and 3. Preferably 3. Embark on midnight prayer. Wake up. Start your praises. First of all, usher in God and His heavenly host into your home with praises. Begin with praises. From your heart, continue to praise God. And after that, you can begin now to pray. Then do not forget to ask God to please open your eyes and show you in your dream where the problem lies, if that money is actually clean, or who is behind your predicament. Because you are confused at that time. You don't know who is doing anything to you. So you can't really say it's this person, or it's from here, or it's from the person that gave me money. You can't really say, because you're not sure. Now, beg God to open your eyes. Beg God to show you in your dream where your predicament is coming from. Do not forget to also ask God to please reveal the face, the human face of the person doing this to you, and not an animal face. You know why? Because these people comes with an animal face to confuse you. If you don't detect by asking God, saying it in details, how you want to see that person, you might go to bed and see a dog. Of course, you guys know that seeing a dog chasing you in the dream is witchcraft attack. You will see dogs or a dog, but you won't know the person behind that dog. You might see a vulture. You might see a rat, gecko. No, that's not what we want here. Tell God in detail by saying to God to please reveal the face, a human face of the person behind your problems, behind what's going on that you do not understand a thing about, that you do not want them to cover themselves up in the face of an animal that you cannot tell of. Maybe you see a dog is already a dog. When you wake up, that same person might come back to your house and you eat and drink without knowing that he or she is the one doing whatever they are doing to you wrongly. So when you do these prayers midnight, it wouldn't hurt if you add fasting into it, maybe 3 days fasting with midnight, or embark on midnight prayer. My dear, you will definitely see the person behind this. It's either you see the actual person, but in that your dream, they will not be happy with you. They won't be your friend. They might even pick up a quarrel and fight you in the dream, because they have known that you have seen them. Or maybe you see them in the dream and they will start defending themselves in the dream, that they don't know what is wrong with happening to you, that they are not the cause of it. Or maybe they will try to set up kind of a meeting or on something like, inviting you to come and eat and dine and wine with them in the dream. But you must surely see the face of that person. When you do all this, you will know who is behind your problems. You will know. Then by the time you get to know these people, you wake up from your dream, this is how to tackle them. Not by fighting. You don't go to them and start hitting them on the mouth and saying, you did this to me, you did this to me. No. You would treat them in such a way that they will get so mad and they will reply you. Then when they scream and reply you, that is when you can now come out physically and tell them, I know all this while it's been you, but my God has won. You are a failure just like your father, the devil. You failed. You have no power over me. So how would you treat them before that thing will happen? In reality, they will text you back. They will text you, hi, how are you? Have you done this? Keep mute. Don't say anything. Because they are looking for a way to get to you. Because you know why? Your prayer has already been touching them. But because we are mere mortals, you don't know what is happening. You don't know how it's affecting them. But all those while you've been praying, you are causing havoc in their kingdom. They are causing havoc in their life. A lot of things are being destroyed in their life, but you don't know. So they will try to contact you. They will start looking for a means to visit you again. They will start, because they know that when they visit you and have a contact with you, they can redo or retouch what they did to you before. But that you will not give them access to. That's what I mean by when they text, mute them. Don't say anything. After all, you didn't quarrel with them. You didn't fight with them. You just kept mute. Maybe they'll start asking you what is even wrong with you. Try to pick a fight with you through text. Don't say anything. When they call you, don't answer. If you are tempted to answer, but I'll tell you don't answer. But if you're tempted to answer due to, old time's sake, when you answer, they will want to ask you questions. Now remember, not only that they are witches, not only that they are doing something diabolical, they are also monitoring spirits. They want to monitor how things are moving on in your life so that it will help them to know if what they've done to you is still there or if something is going that bad for them. So when they ask you a series of questions, it is very simple to tell them some things are better not said. Don't utter a word. Don't answer that question they're asking you. Instead, you can choose to ask them, how is your family? Hope they're fine. Any question they ask you, do not entertain that question. But if you feel that keeping quiet, they will start asking you, why are you keeping quiet? Then tell them some things are better not said. And end it there. And of course, dismiss that call. Don't waste your time on that call. Dismiss the call by telling them maybe you are busy doing something or the other, or you are at your workplace at the moment. Dismiss the call. But gradually continue to do this. You will spoil things for them. For some of them that are so wicked that they cannot condone what you are doing anymore, they will scream one day. Because you don't know what is wrong with them. You don't know what is happening to them. They will scream. They might start cursing you. They might start telling you hateful things to prompt you to react, like to curse them back. They might start gossiping with your name. They might start telling to people, such an ungrateful human being, after giving him money, after giving her money, this is how he or she chose to treat me back. Because they will start acting like victims here. Meanwhile, you are the actual victim. But because it's a spiritual warfare, nobody with physical eyes will truly understand that. Only you. Only you, because you are the only one that went through that hell. You are only one that started your midnight prayer and fasting. You are the only one that God revealed whatever God revealed to you in the dream. So who can understand it? Who? Only you and your God. It's between you and your God and them, because they are witches. Allow them to throw tantrums as usual. Let them go about saying all sorts of things. If they've come back to you again to tell you all sorts of rubbish, what I will tell you is, if they place a curse on you, don't keep quiet. Return that curse back to them instantly without wasting time. This particular one right here is not about keeping mute. Return that curse back to them immediately, because Keeping quiet when a curse is placed on you actually works on you. But returning it back to them instantly fires them and hurts them and works in their own life and not you. Then that time you can now tell them, I have already gotten my answer. I knew it's been you all this while. But you have failed because your father, the devil, has failed and constantly failed from beginning to the end. He has always been a failure just like you. Then you rebuke them. So next time, pay attention to some helps that you are receiving. Not everybody that helps you actually wants you to prosper. Not everybody that helps you wants to see you at the top. Not everybody that helps you mean well to you. Some help you to bring down your downfall. Some help to take your destiny from you to them. Yes, some people helped from helping you, they're taking your destiny. It happens a lot to girls. There are so many diabolical men out there who has used girls by giving them what they need, money, material things, and taking their destiny. But they will know. You can only retrieve your destiny back through prayer. One can take one's destiny, yes, but doesn't mean you cannot get your destiny back. But unfortunately, it always takes years for us to realize that our destiny has been stolen. So since it always takes years, if you're watching me right now, get to know it on time and start fighting back for your destiny. Invite God into your life, embark on midnight prayer. Pray and fast to God to bring back your destiny, to get it from them and give it back to you. It is still possible. Nothing is impossible in God's sight. It is still possible. You can still get your destiny back. Wicked people are everywhere, hiding in the name of friendship, in the name of relation, in the name of people you know. So we all need to open our eyes, our spiritual eyes. Because with physical eyes, you cannot see anything. But when you open your spiritual eyes, you will know how they operate. So whenever someone gives you money, whether from free will or offering or whether borrowing or your salary, make sure you first of all take that money to God. Even if they send it through the account, your bank account, go to God in prayer. Bring out God's own. Give it to God. Use it to do charity. Put in God's church. Then use the rest of the money. If you do this, they will hate you. And they will never give you money again. Then on your own part, you'll be wondering, but what did I do? I thanked you the day you gave me that money. Why are you now angry with me? They won't tell you, but they will tell you things like, I don't blame you. I wasted my time even helping you, without telling you the actual reason. But if you have a spiritual eyes that is open, you will know where their problem lies. It's because they gave you that money and you first of all brought out God's own and gave God his own, prayed over it before using that money. And if you do this, you will use that money very well. Whatever you set that money to do, it will yield profit upon profit back to you. All their plans will fail and backfire to them. But if you go ahead and use the money without taking it to God first, that is when their plans will start working into your life. All their evil plans will begin to manifest because that's how they projected it to be. So please, let's not always fall into this temptation again. Open your eyes. And another thing is, stop trusting too much. Stop trusting too much. As a matter of fact, nobody is your bosom friend. I'm sorry to say it. And at the same time, I'm not sorry. Nobody is actually your bosom friend, because we've had encounters that it's all our bosom friends that always in the end beat us. Always in the end hurts us so deeply. So even if you have a close friend that you like so much and that likes you so much, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean we're not going to have close friendship, but I will really urge us to open our spiritual eyes in the midst of that friendship with that person. Even if you trust that person, don't overdo it. Don't overdo the trust of a thing. We have had our young girls, the ones that trusted their friends so much, and their friends will take them out and arrange with some people to drug their drink and have them raped. This is your friend that did this to you. That's why I said, even if you like that person, do not overtrust these people. Like them with every God's likeness, At the same time, open your spiritual eyes. Watch things that happen spiritually. How do you open your spiritual eyes? By constantly praying. Constantly find yourself in the presence of God so that when something is going wrong, God will first of all reveal it to you before they even notice that you've noticed things that are happening around you. Assuming they are the ones causing havoc in your life, God will reveal it to you, things that are about to happen. Then you will be able to protect yourself away from their evil deeds before they even strike. So I hope you have learned something from this topic. This particular topic is dear to me because people are suffering. People are suffering from things they never caused. You never know that it's your friend that is doing it to you, your so-called best friend, or your so-called friendship with someone you truly care for, or your so-called uncle or auntie. It's always people you are close to, more especially friends. So please, let's constantly ask God to lead us. When you allow God to lead your life, no weapons of the enemy fashioned against you will ever prosper, because God will always protect you and shield you away from their evil plans. So I pray that God covers us with his precious blood and always lead in our lives so that we will not fall into the temptation of the enemy. And every hole the enemy have dug for us, let them fall into it in the name of Jesus. Amen. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you learned something from this. After watching this video, please educate your children, educate your loved ones, educate the people you care for. Let's open our spiritual eyes through prayer and be able to avoid the schemes of the devil. So thank you so much. Next time I'm going to bring another wonderful topic for us. But for now, I have to say goodbye and take care of yourself.